This is how the Denver Broncos can make the playoffs, Week 12 edition. So now that we're getting closer and closer to the NFL playoffs, I thought that we'd make this a little bit of a weekly series here on the channel, at least as long as the Broncos are still in playoff contention, going over what outcomes need to happen each given week to boost the chances for the Denver Broncos to make the playoffs. Now, we're going to be using here the New York Times playoff simulator, and according to them, the Denver Broncos currently have a 19% chance to make the playoffs based on a bunch of different simulations, actually 315,000 simulations. So with this formula here, it's obviously not going to be a perfect science, but it is a fun and useful way to see what kind of scenarios need to pan out in order for the Denver Broncos or any NFL team to make the playoffs. I'll go ahead and link this NFL or New York Times playoff simulator down below so you guys can give this a try if you want to. But right now, the first thing that obviously needs to happen is the Denver Broncos have to beat the Cleveland Browns on Sunday in order for us to have our best chance to make the NFL playoffs. It'll shoot our chances to make the playoffs all the way up to 30%, but unfortunately, if we were to lose to the Browns, our playoff chances will shoot all the way down from 19% to 6%, and that certainly isn't where we want. We'd have a very, very heavy uphill climb, so we really, really need to get that win over Cleveland. We can more so afford to lose to Cleveland than we can to Houston, but we'll go ahead and address that a little bit later down the line. The Denver Broncos have a chance to boost their playoff odds all the way up to 40% if these outcomes happen here. So first of all, we need the Miami Dolphins to beat the New York Jets, who we obviously lost to. We lost to both of these teams, but Miami is most likely going to win their division. The Jets have a slim chance to get into the wild card round, and they want to do that if they have any chance at all of Aaron Rodgers to return. So we need Miami to beat the Jets and basically squash any last gasp they have of making the playoffs. We need the Bengals with Jake Browning to upset the Pittsburgh Steelers because, again, the Steelers are going to be one of our top challengers for that final wild card spot. So we need Cincinnati to somehow come through with a miracle win there. That'll really help our case out. We need the Panthers to beat the Titans. This one isn't going to matter so much because the Titans don't really have much of a chance to make the playoffs, but it would obviously at least boost us a little bit there if Carolina wins, but that one doesn't really matter too much. We need the Buccaneers to beat the Colts. The Colts are going to be another one of our top challengers for that final wild card spot. Giants Patriots is another one of those ones that doesn't really matter too much because the Patriots are probably going to end up with the bottom seed in the AFC anyway. So Patriots, if they win here or lose here, it really does not matter whatsoever. Jaguars beating the Texans would certainly help out because the Texans are making that push for the wild card spot. However, if Houston wins here, that wouldn't be the worst case scenario either because that would potentially push them towards the top of the AFC South title, and then that would mean we would have to challenge Jacksonville. So kind of either way you look at it, but it would be better for the Denver Broncos here if the Jacksonville Jaguars were to beat the Houston Texans. Again, we got to take care of our own business. That's the key priority. Chiefs, Raiders, that'll probably come down to wild card because let's be honest, guys, Chiefs are probably going to get their stuff together at some point. We're probably not going to challenge them for the division, although we're currently 2 games back. So we need to basically be playing for the wild card at this point. Raiders have that win over us from week 1, and they're kind of trying to turn their season around a little bit with their interim head coach, Antonio Pierce. So we'll see what happens with the Raiders. They almost got out of Miami with a win last week, so you never know what could happen. Going with KC at home, I mean, obviously the expectation is KC's going to steamroll them, but you never know with one of these gritty, tough teams that has an interim head coach like the Raiders. Anything could happen, but KC winning would certainly help in terms of the Denver Broncos wild card push. Another one, again, would be if the Eagles were able to beat Buffalo. They're going to be another one of our top challengers, and they've sort of gotten their offense back on track ever since they made the move to fire Ken Dorsey and bring in Joe Brady, their former quarterbacks coach, as the offensive coordinator. Joe Brady really rose up the ranks when he was at LSU, working under Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, that incredible offense that won the national championship in 2019. And then he went on and had a little stint as the Carolina Panthers offensive coordinator, which didn't really go great, but I'd more so blame that on the situation around him than him himself. So I'm kind of curious to see if this Joe Brady Bills offense can maybe sneak out a win here against the Philadelphia Eagles, who got a really big win last week against the Kansas City Chiefs. So, again, man, that could be one where if the Eagles win, I think that would really help Denver out. But I could also see Buffalo pulling out the upset here. And then Baltimore beating the Chargers, that would be a big win for us here. Having the Chargers take another loss, our division opponent. So, yeah, Baltimore winning. They're probably going to win the AFC North. So, this one would be a big help there if Baltimore were to beat LA. Again, if all of these happen, the Denver Broncos' chances to make the playoffs rise up to 40%. And then next week, if we were to beat the Houston Texans, it would shoot up all the way into the high 50s, maybe even towards 60%. So this is huge for us, these next few stretches of games, but these are the outcomes that we really need to happen for the Denver Broncos to boost their playoff chances in Week 12. All right, Broncos country, I am curious, which one of these outcomes are you most nervous about happening? Honestly, that Jags-Texans game makes me a little bit nervous, and then obviously the Bengals-Steelers. I don't really have a whole lot of confidence in the Bengals offense being led with Jake Browning because they've even looked anemic at times with Joe Burrow in there. So that one definitely makes me nervous, but I'm curious about your thoughts, Broncos country. Drop your comments down below. I would love to hear them as always. Be sure to leave a like on this video as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it, guys. Those are two free and easy ways to show your support. Helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out and helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. And until next time, guys, I am your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.